Hello everyone, I'm Tina Lynn Dickerson. 13 years ago, when my nephew moved to Sweden for a girlfriend, I kept wondering, why couldn't he have fallen in love with a girl from a country with a warmer climate like Brazil? I mean, Sweden isn't anywhere near the top of my list of countries to visit. With its cold climate and short periods of daylight, it seems like a challenging place to live. I don't expect my nephew to be there forever, but then he and his girlfriend have a baby, and the deal is sealed. Time to warm up to that cold country and visit. Before going, I imagined Sweden to be a place with underlying gloom, a place where suicide and depression might be common. So I'm surprised when I have the exact opposite experience there. Thousands of miles from home for a whole month, my mind is suddenly calm. I feel the presence of my essential self. In the absence of all of my usual emotional triggers, I don't feel overwhelmed as if the world is breaking apart like a puzzle, as if I need to escape my body. This is a state of mind I'm not familiar with, but want desperately to cultivate. I cry the night before I have to return home. At the time, back in New York City, I act as a caretaker for my elderly MS-stricken mother before she dies. What I don't yet know then is that I suffer from dissociative disorder. It's information I won't get until 2014, but when I do, it helps to explain a lifetime of emotional challenges. It all starts at a young age. I'm born to much older parents. In her early 50s, my mother has enjoyed a wonderful career as a nurse and is considering pursuing her lifelong dream of becoming a doctor. With my sister just about old enough to begin living on her own, my parents are ready for an empty nest. But then I come along, a so-called change of life baby. I'm born prematurely, just under 5 pounds, with asthma and lacking in essential protein. But I'm a fighter, Mom later tells me. The first 6 months of my life, she and my dad takes turns watching over me until I get stronger. But then their work schedules become too demanding. That's when they find the babysitter. Not long after, the constant nightmares start. I see a big black figure like a wooden mannequin. She has spaces between all her joints, as if she is dismantled. I hate going to sleep because in my dream, the figure chases me relentlessly night after night. By day, I stutter. I have to go to speech class. I become very withdrawn, a characteristic that makes me a perfect target for a teacher who molests me at school. He knows I won't speak out. In my teenage years, I go through suicidal thoughts and depression. Mom talks to me about what I'm going through, and I know she's tortured on some level by not being able to protect me. She takes me to a therapist, but the therapist can't really reach me. I can't get in touch with the shadows that haunt me. My emotions are separate from my thoughts. I cannot connect the dots. The nightmares continue until one night, when I'm 23, I have a breakthrough. I wake up in a cold sweat and finally see the face of the woman who first harmed me, my early babysitter. That's the last time I am chased in my sleep. My problems don't go away though. In my early 20s, I start growing a tumor that I do not yet know will be a recurring theme in my young life. My sister dies, and it's too much for me to handle. I never cry. Then my father dies of cancer. Again, I do not cry. The emotions seep eternally, and I grow 4 more tumors. There are more painful health issues, including female problems. Then, when I am an older adult, my mother dies from MS. I don't know how to deal with that, or with being the last surviving member of my immediate family. Over the course of the year, my grief manifests into a condition of dryness in the small intestines, which is the beginning of a cascade of unfortunate events. Because I can't work full-time, I lose my job. The complex I'm living in is sold, and even though my name is on the lease, I am harassed constantly to move out of my rent-stabilized apartment. I win my case, but the stress is too much and I lose my home I was born in. At first, I stay at a hotel, then I couch surf, I rent a room. Finally, I became homeless and go through the shelter system for a year. I become disconnected from myself. I live in terror, lost in a fog. I forget who I am and where I live. My thoughts, feelings, and memories don't connect. I forget that my sister died years ago. There's a tug of war between me and a part of me that wants to stay grounded in the present, and another that wants to leave my body. My world starts dismantling, and I feel as if I'm falling with no ground beneath me. I lose awareness of my surroundings and all sense of time. I'm not present. I can't protect myself. I'm not safe. Fortunately, I keep in touch with my family in Sweden. They're very concerned about me, and they take action. Through a mutual friend, they find a woman here who wants to help me out. She wants to pay it forward and helps me get into a shelter upstate for a while. I have heard about this kind of charity from the heart on talk shows, but I never thought it could happen to me. I go through a situation filled with hope. I'm sorry. Just breathe. I go from a situation filled with people who don't care about me to one where people have not forgotten how to care. It saves my humanity and it gives me hope in mankind. While upstate, I look into my mental health, and that's when I get diagnosed with dissociative disorder. Suddenly, there is an explanation for all my disconnectedness. Now I get why it took me 11 years to complete an associate degree. I get treatment, psychotherapy. I discover that when I'm learning something new, I am able to stay present, associated. So I decided to keep learning new things. I go back to school for a degree in creative art therapy, and in 2015, I get my own apartment in Uptown Kingston. I'm rebuilding my life. Years before, when I was taking part in a seminar on the effects of emotions on the body with a well-known alternative health guru, I asked about my past history of sexual trauma and how it might have affected my growing tumors and my other health issues. Anybody who has gone through that kind of experience is forever fucked up, the guru said. In that moment, I felt as if I've lost my power. I felt branded, damaged goods. I took this on, and it blocked me from many opportunities because I didn't know how to protect myself if people felt this way. But in the past 2 years since my diagnosis, I have begun to dismantle that belief. I am determined now that I will not allow my past or my diagnosis to define me. Yes, it is part of my identity, but these days I feel as if the dissociative disorder has to figure out what I'm doing. It has to catch up to me. I'm building myself up again, building a foundation from the bottom up. I feel blessed to be able to rebuild my life again. I am listening to my heart, and people are experiencing me listening to my heart. I will help others to do the same. I too would pay it forward.